Well, good evening, friends. Welcome to Sanctified Studios, home of Fireside Chats. As always, I'm your deep, fat friar, Pastor Andrew. Well, friends, the leaves are changing. There's a coolness and a crispness in the air. Pumpkins are on porches, and everywhere we go, the smell of pumpkin spice assaults us. That's right, friends. We are quickly approaching this fat friar's favorite frolicky time of year. Fall. Yes, I love fall. I think the reason that I love fall so much is because as a young junior friar, Fry Daddy and I would go to Fry Granddaddy's house every year during the fall season, and we would go to deer camp, a place where we would share stories and look at nature, and then we would go out on the elusive hunt. My granddaddy would take Fry Daddy and myself to the cabin, and there we would have a wonderful time. We would always wait, every year, early in the morning while the leaves were still crisp on the ground, for the big one, Big Bucky, to come along. In fact, friends, that's why tonight I'm so excited. Our special guest is coming to us live from the cabin in the woods. He's one of my greatest heroes, Fry Granddaddy. Granddaddy Friar, are you there? Are you there, Granddaddy Friar?
Shh! Be quiet there, Short Snort. You're fixing to scare all the deer away. Besides, Granddaddy ain't here.
Listen, Clyde, what are you doing here? Where's Granddaddy at? And don't call me Short Snort.
Sirree there, Short Snort. It's me, Deer-Hide Clyde. Granddaddy said he was getting tired of the cold weather, so as soon as he heard the cicadas, he headed for Sarasota, Florida. He said he'll be back in May. And what do you mean, don't call you Short Snort? That's your name, ain't it?
Sarasota? I thought for sure Granddaddy would be out on this opening day of deer season. He loves being in the woods. And yes, Short Snort may be my deer hunting name, but on my show, I'm known as the Deep Fat Friar.
Deep Fat Friar? Ain't that what Mama uses to cook frog legs and clean the four-wheeler parts? I'm guessing you ain't told all your fancy pants fans out there about your name Short Snort and the story how you got it, have you?
I have not told them that story, and no one needs to know.
I remember it like it was yesterday. You and me, we was kids, and we was hunting with Paw and Daddy, and when we was out there, you had to sit over in the big Bertha blind because, well, you was kind of a portly child, and because of your short legs, it made it kind of difficult for you to get up a ladder, kind of like a marshmallow trying to roll uphill. But, we had watched a few deer come through that morning, but they was all little ones. We was after the monster, the legend of the swamp, Big Bucky. Well, you must have got bored, because it wasn't very long before all of a sudden you fall asleep and started snoring. Now, I ain't talking about them cute little cherubim kind of snoring like, shoo. I'm talking like it sounded like a chainsaw running through a chain link fence. My goodness, I ain't never heard such racket. Well, there he was sleeping, when out of the holler come the majesticness himself, the one that had 20 points if he had one, and a body like a Holstein cow, Big Bucky. Oh, he came running right for Big Bertha blind. You was going to have him sure shooting. Well, he went over there and he was standing right in front of your blind. He was snorting and pawing the ground. Oh, he was madder than a wet hen. Best I can figure is he heard your snorting from probably 3 or 4 mountains over, and he figured that a bull moose had moved into the territory and he was there fixing to run him off. Well, none of us could get a shot because you was in the way, when all of a sudden Granddaddy hollered, "Wake up, it's Bucky!" Well, you woke up all right, staring eye to eye with the biggest deer you ever did see. He was mad and he was chomping. You jumped up and like a little ham with legs took off running down the trail, Big Bucky in hot pursuit. He was pounding the ground and huffing and snorting while you ran all the way back to the cabin, up the hill, back down the hill, and ended up hiding in the outhouse. It took us over an hour to talk you out of there.
I remember it well, and I'm certain that my viewers don't want to hear any more stories of when I was just a junior friar. But Clyde, I am curious. What changed that made Granddaddy want to go to Florida for the winter? I mean, I thought that would never happen.
Well, goodness, Short Snort, everything changes. I guess we all go through different times in our lives. I reckon there's only two things that we can count on. One is that everything in this life is going to change. The other is that the good Lord is the only one that stays absolutely the same. You remember that verse that was carved on that board outside the deer cabin? It was one of Granny's favorite verses. It was Isaiah 40, verse 8. It says, "The grass it withers, and the flower it fades, but the word of our God will stand forever." You remember that? Grandma used to say that to us all the time as kids as the seasons would change.
Certainly do remember that verse, and, honestly, I can hear it even now in Granny's sweet voice. I can remember it as she would say that to us just as we were walking out the door to head to deer camp. Clyde, it's the truth of that verse that gives me hope even in these changing times. No matter what happens, God and his promises for us are always the same.
Snort, you sure are right. This world changes a lot. I mean, you certainly have changed. Remember when you was about 17, you decided you would look more sophisticated with facial hair, and so you tried to grow a mustache? After about a month, you ended up walking around with that thing above your lip. It looked like you had a caterpillar with mange stuck to you. I mean...
Yes, Clyde, you're right. Things certainly haven't changed a lot since those days. Well, I hate to cut you off, but we are out of time. Friends, there you have it. Live from Deer Camp and Deer Hide Clyde, even though things in this world may change and our lives may be different than what we thought they would be, you and I as followers of Jesus can rest in the truth that God and his promises will never change. They will last through eternity. So this week, friends, if you encounter something that is changing, remember this truth. The grass withers, the flowers fade, but the word of our God stands forever. Thanks so much for joining us this week here at Sanctified Studios, the home of Fireside Chat. As always, I'm your deep fat friar, Pastor Andrew. We'll see you next time.